used a while ago. And I haven't actually modified anything. All we really have right now is just that it's connected to a hotspot. But now once we get to this hotspot, we're gonna start the actual, I guess, initial steps to hack the Wii. This is really simple, right? Once we have it connected to the Wi-Fi, right? We just go into Wii settings. And all we do is that we change our default DNS. I believe. So Wii settings under, I believe, connection settings. Change settings. We get to the side a bit. Oh, here we go. So we have auto obtain DNS. We're going to turn this off. We're going to go into advanced settings. And we're going to change this to something else. And that something else is on my notes on my laptop. Let me check real quick. And it's going to be 18.188.135.9. I'm just going to put this in the chat so I can use it for a reference. All right, there we go. All right, so for primary DNS, 108.188.135.9, press OK. Secondary DNS, I want to do the same thing, so 18.188.135.9, press OK, press confirm, and save. It's going to test the connection. Whose DNS is this? It's one of the hackers who found this exploit, and I'll kind of show you how very simple this hack is, because this really only takes like 5 minutes. All right. We're already on the latest version, so we can just press no. And we're going to go back, and we're going to go to user agreements. We're going to press yes. Then we're going to give it a bit.
So this hack relies on whoever hacker is using the DNS.
Yeah.
Keeping that DNS up.
Yeah, exactly. So if the DNS goes down, then we won't be able to hack into this. So we're going to connect to the internet, wait a bit. Now we have this screen. We just wait a couple minutes, and we're basically done hacking the entire Wii, just like that.
This is an interesting Nintendo user agreement.
Yeah, so you just leave it at this screen, and then we just install Homebrew, and we're set. Yeah.
Look at this go.
Average CIS major.
But yeah, the Wii is one of the simpler hacks. There's also another hack, which is honestly just as simple, but that requires me to know the MAC address for the Wii, and that requires me to put a file on an SD card and then transfer it over to the Wii. And all I do is just open that file, and it basically just crashes the entire system and then allows us to load Homebrew. But this one's a bit, it's even more simpler. We just connect to whatever Wi-Fi, just change the DNS, and we just leave it like this, and just download Homebrew off of this. This process is probably slower because we're on a hotspot and not an actual Wi-Fi connection, so it might take a while to set up.
Why are we on a hotspot instead of on the campus Wi-Fi or something?
Campus Wi-Fi requires like a login, so we can't. Oh, there it is. All right. And I think we have to wait a bit, and then we should be given a kind of like a GUI type screen where we can just select what we want to install. But until then, we gotta wait. All right, hey everyone. So I think this exploit might be outdated, so we're gonna swap off to another one. So I'm just gonna turn off the Wii, turn it back on, and then I need to Google a guide real quick just to double check the other alternative steps are the same as what I think they are. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm just gonna double check that the DNS that I chose is correct. All right, yeah, I'm not too sure what the problem is. This could be something to do with the Wii. Yeah, so I think what we'll do, we'll go and use Letterbond instead, which was the method that I was talking about. All right, cool. All right, give me just 1 second. I need my laptop to be connected to the hotspot itself, because what we're basically doing, we're gonna grab a file from a website that uses, that kind of delivers a message to the Wii itself. And that website is gonna make a file so big that the Wii can't handle it, and it's basically just going to crash it, and we'll basically download Homebrew through that. So give me just 1 second. All right, hey everyone. So I'm basically sharing my screen. This is the sort of the main website to go for a lot of console hacks, actually. So if you do something like 3ds.guide, you'll automatically be transferred to a website that has a list of all these exploits that you can use for whatever consoles you need, like PS Vita.guide and so on. So basically, honestly, the steps are pretty straightforward. So we go on to, or first of all, I need to change my Wi-Fi and turn off my VPN. So give me just a sec while I connect to the Wi-Fi. All right, so now that I'm connected to the hotspot, let me share my screen again. All right, so now that we have this, we're going to be directed to this website. I hope the screen share is loading, because almost, hotspots aren't the best. Do you see my screen? No? All right, yeah, there we go. So I think the website is being shared now. I'm going to turn off my video because I believe that's making my Wi-Fi just a little bit slower. So, okay, so we have this right here, and we're basically going to choose a version. We're on 4.3U, and we're going to need our MAC address. And to find our MAC address, all we need to do is to go onto the Wii and go into the settings. I won't be able to show this portion because it might slow down the internet connection to crawl on my laptop. Just a second. And basically, to find this, we just need to go to. All right, I'm just going to leave it like this. So we're still in the internet settings. And now we just need to go into Wi-Fi settings, internet, then console information to find our MAC address. So right there, console information, and we have our MAC address right there. So from the website that I showed you, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to input that MAC address. So it's 0026 59, 0F, 1F and 80. 1F, it's 80. And let me go back to sharing my screen again. So, all right, here we go. So we have the MAC address of our Wii, and all we need to do is just bundle in Hackme installer for me. And okay, extract the contents. Okay, either wire. All right, so we just choose one or the other. We'll get this letterbomb.zip, and we'll just save it. And once we're done with that, we'll just grab our SD card that we already have, and we'll just put the file into this SD card. All right, there we go. Now that we have that here, we're gonna extract here. We'll just refresh it. All right, and we're just gonna delete this file because we no longer need it. Just refresh it just so you can see. All right, so now that we have this, we're just gonna eject. Eject this right here. Now that we're done with that, I'll go back onto my camera. So now that we have this SD card with the file, I'm just gonna put this in and we'll go from there. All right, so we're just gonna leave this menu. Press back. Then now we're gonna go down here to the Wii messaging board. And we just need to go back a couple of days and right there. So this is basically the letter bomb. I click this and we'll give it a sec and it'll be downloading the homebrew from the SD card. Just like that. This is basically the hacking screen that you get.
So it's called a letter bomb?
Yeah, because it's literally just the letter bomb. So we'll give it a second. It should give us a prompt to press a button to continue. All right, sweet. So we have this prompt. We'll just press 1 to continue. And from here, we can basically choose what's going to be installed. So just press continue, install homebrew, press yes, continue. And just like that, press OK. Now that we have that, we can just exit. And we'll have our homebrew channel.
This is on the Wii.
Yeah, so this is on the Wii, you know, it just took like 5 minutes. We're already done. So right now we don't see anything because we don't actually have applications. So I'm just gonna press the home button, press exit to system menu, and I'll hop on back on my laptop because I have some, I already have some homebrew applications there that I'm going to install and just move over to the SD card. So give me just a second. For the time being, I'm gonna have to Wii off just so it doesn't mess up the SD card contents or anything of the sort. All right. All right, sorry about that. I think there was a magnet close to my laptop and it just killed it. So, all right. Yeah, I'm not going to share my screen here because I have to go through my computer's files. So give me just 1 second. But basically, all you really need to do to install Homebrew applications, you just go into the SD card, create a folder called apps, and in the apps folder, we just put all of the applications, Homebrew applications that we want on the. No, I wish. It needs to be specifically Homebrew for the Wii. Otherwise, it will fall out. Just a second. All right. This might take a bit because I guess one of the demonstrations that I want to do is modding Super Smash Bros. And I believe the file is roughly 2 gigs or so, so I need to have that transferred over to the SD card. I only have one. I don't have the batteries for the second. So it's double A. So sorry for the slow process. It's going to take roughly 2 more minutes, and then we should be good to go. All right, it's going to finish up in about 20 seconds or so. So I'll just unmute here while I wait for this to load. All right, sweet. So now that we have all the all the files on the SD card, I will just eject it. And then I'm going to throw it back onto the Wii up here, and we'll go from there. All right. So now that we have that, we're just going to go over here where we now have the Homebrew channel. So we're just going to open that up. Press start. And we'll give it a bit. And just like that. So basically, we just downloaded all these Homebrew applications from Wikipedia that compiles a list of all these applications as well as the download links for them. And we just create a folder called apps on the SD card that we use to put the files for the letter bomb in. And we just put it back into the Wii. And now we have all of these different applications. So we'll kind of go one by one. We'll start off with the Homebrew browser. This one's pretty cool. So basically just press load, just like that. Right, we'll give it a bit to initialize. Okay, yeah, there we go. So basically this is kind of like the sort of like a Wii shop, but for Homebrew applications. So rather than needing to, we're getting an error. This might be because of the DNS that we have connected to because I didn't reset it. So I think, all right, so we'll just shut this down real quick. And then we'll just go back to the settings, reset our DNS, and then we'll go from there. But basically, the application is supposed to be sort of like a shop for, or not really a shop, but just an open place where we can download Homebrew rather than needing to take out the SD card from the Wii, connect it to the computer, and kind of go back and forth with it. It's a all-in-one stop, basically. All right, so we're gonna go here, resettings. And this is just because I tried using the one exploit that didn't work. Internet. Settings, wireless, change settings. get to
Yeah,
the side
Ethan.
here. Auto obtain. Yes, yes, save, and okay.
Ethan, sorry, really quick. We're not able to see your screen. Do you mind sharing it or projecting?
Shoot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be on my camera because we're not
okay,
actually.
gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I hope I can change the lighting just so it's a little bit more brighter. Give me just a sec.
Well, it's just showing us Alexander Eckhart's screen. His name.
Oh, really?
I
All
don't
right.
know, maybe he needs to do something.
Sorry about that. All right.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Cool. Sorry about that. I forgot to do it as I was switching back and forth from my camera to my screen. All right. Yeah. So basically, all I didn't do too much. I'm just resetting the DNS so that way we don't have any internet problems. As I was trying to connect to the internet to get to the Homebrew browser. All right. So we're just gonna go back. And, all right, so right here, that's the Homebrew channel. I don't think you guys were able to see it before, but here it is. So we're just gonna open this up real quick. And all the Homebrew applications that I had on my PC that I put on my SD card that's now in the Wii, it's all gonna be here. So let's try using the Homebrew browser again. So we'll have to give it a bit. And it looks like it's working, just like that. All right, cool. Oh. All right. And here it is. So basically, we have a bunch of different types. We have types of applications. We have demos, emulators, games, media, and utilities. So we have, just the demo for a bunch of games that developers have created on the Wii. In emulators, we have an N64 emulator, a PlayStation 1, a point and click emulator, SNES, GBA. There's a lot of consoles as well as operating systems that can be sort of emulated on this device. So that's pretty cool if you kind of want to use Wii for kind of a media box, if you will. All right, and moving on to games. So most of these I believe are either ports made by fans who kind of know how the code works and have been able to port it to different devices, or they're just homebrew games that people just create for fun, like LED Head, for example, Wii Rut, that would be a port, and so on. And media, basically, this is there's an application called the Wii MCSS. It's a Wii media player, so I'll be talking more about that later as I have that downloaded right now, or rather the Wii MC. So I'll be showing that. But yeah, internet radio, Wii media player, there's a lot of different, applications that you can use. Utilities, this is kind of, just for fun. We can get the console keys. We can make our Wii disc glow if we really want. Fire Emblem transfer tool, so kind of transfer files to and from the Wii. Yeah, but this is basically it. So this is basically, all stop, or a one-place stop for all the homebrew applications. Oh yeah, this one's pretty cool. I'm not going to be covering this today, but it's called Reconnect 24, and this basically allows us to connect to Wii Internet applications that have long been canceled or just had their support stopped. So for example, like the news channel, for example, no longer works, but with this application, we can easily change the DNS to a server that kind of emulates all those internet applications on the Wii, and we can just run this again. All right, so we'll kind of just go back, return to loader, and we'll kind of just go one by one. So I'll leave projects M at the end because this is kind of like a finale type thing. We'll go on to save game manager. So this one is basically, it looks at the Wii for all the saved game data that we have, and we can basically change whatever we want to. So let's open this up. I'm not too sure if this is going to work today because this might be a brand new Wii. Okay, all right, so we'll just install that real quick. We'll give it a sec. Okay, so basically this is a save loader. I don't know if we can find one today because I haven't used this SD card to actually have save game data that we can fool around with. But yeah, if we were to have something here, we would probably be able to modify the save so we can give ourselves like infinite money or lives, for example. But in this case, we aren't able to because we don't actually have a save data to mess around with. Going down, we're going to be talking about the Wii Media Player, and this one is pretty cool. So basically, the Wii itself, it's not actually allowed to run a DVD disc, for example, but this application kind of unlocks the DVD disc so that way it reads DVDs as well as, you know, Wii and GameCube discs. So we're not kind of like locked out for that media functionality. And if I really wanted to, I can also put MP4s or pictures or music files onto the SD card, so that way we can just play it all from this one device, which is pretty nice. So yeah, no disc inserted. If I were to have a DVD of a movie, I can easily just put it in and I can just play it from the Wii. Yeah, I didn't know that they had YouTube support, but we'll just check it out. Okay, all right, so I believe I need to have an actual file on the SD card to have something run. But yeah, we have a bunch of these different sources that we can have outputted on the Wii. And going down, so we have Wii Explorer, which is a file browser. I feel like with every console, there at least needs to have one file browser. Because the file browser is such an important tool that a lot of apps or consoles just don't give you right off the bat. So immediately we can kind of just go in here and look at all the files. So basically, this is all the contents on the SD card. So as I was talking before, I created this file called apps, and we have all of our homebrew in here. But, oh, okay. So we have a couple applications that we can look at here. So we have all of our homebrew here. For channels, this would be just our default applications that we have on the Wii. We have Opera web browser that we can use if we want to. We have BootMe. We also have an FTP server, which is really cool because this allows us to transfer, say, more homebrew applications from a device on the internet that has an FTP client, and we can just connect it using the file transfer protocol. A lot of hacked consoles also give you kind of the ability to use this. My 3DS is able to connect via FTP, as well as my PS Vita, as well as my PS3. So kind of allows us to have that, I guess, different ways to download or bring media to our console. So we'll just exit here. And we'll go to the Project M launcher. Hopefully this works first try. Let me look at the chat real quick. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry that I wasn't able to have it work properly. But anyways, here, let's load this game. So basically, this is a mod for Super Smash Bros. And what I forgot to do was put in the disc for Super Smash Bros. So give me 2 seconds. Oh, sorry about that. I I think I was muted for a bit, but basically what I said was Project M. It was all right. So basically, this is a homebrew channel, and we have all of our homebrew applications. I'm not too sure if I covered it or not, but basically, going from top to bottom, we have the homebrew browser, which has all of our applications. We have Project M, which is actually a game mod. We have Save Game Manager GX, which is a save file editor. So that means if we have a game, let's say, we can kind of hack the game and give us values that otherwise wouldn't be possible. So we also have WeMC, which is a media player. So we can play DVDs as well as audio files if we really want to. We also have a file explorer, which is kind of gives us the ability to kind of go through the SD card as well as the system files without really needing, a computer. So hopefully you kind of saw okay, we'll start off with WeExplore because there's a lot of things in here that I kind of want to talk about. So yeah, I was showing this earlier, but basically this is kind of where we can just go through all the files that we want to. And we also have different things over here in the start menu. So we have something like the FTP client, which is really cool because it allows us to transfer files to and from our computer to the Wii. So if we really want to, we can have Homebrew downloaded onto our laptop and we can just transfer the files over there using a file transfer protocol. We also have a Opera GX running right here, so we can go to the web if we want. The apps would be referring to our Homebrew applications, and channels would be our default apps on the Wii. So that's basically it for the WeExplorer bit. So we'll just exit and kind of go down the line. All right, so WeMC, so this was kind of the Homebrew application that we were talking about. By default, the Wii cannot actually play DVDs. It can only play Wii games, GameCube discs, and that's it. But this sort of unlocks the Wii to kind of have that capability to play movies or albums if we really wanted to on the disc format. So we can, if I were to have a movie DVD, we can just load it in, click on this, and we would be able to play the media through here. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that because I don't have any on me. And we also have these different types of, I guess, media that we can use. It wasn't working when I tried, so I think this needs a bit more configuring, but this is also kind of an option that we have. Right. And going back. So we have the Save Game Manager GX. Unfortunately, I'm not able to mess around with this too much because I don't have actual save data on this Wii because this is a completely, or rather, refurbished Wii that I haven't played any games on, so we won't be able to use that. The Homebrew browser. So this is basically sort of like the app store for homebrews. And if it works, we should be able to see a bunch of different things. All right, we'll give it a sec. So I was talking about how there's demos, emulators, games, media, and as well as utilities. This might be, for fun applications that we really don't need, or that might, have a very specific thing it wants to do. For example, like for the example, the Fire Emblem transfer tool. So maybe some players might need to do it, but for us, we won't really be using it. We also have media. So we were kind of talking about how that application allows us to play music, movies, pictures, and stuff like that. This would fall under sort of the media category. We have a bunch of games that have either been created from the ground up to be run as Wii Homebrew, or we can actually see that some of these games are ports. So these are games that have been kind of edited in their code to run natively or run as best as it can on the Wii. So we have something like Sonic 2 and RuneScape, Sonic CD, And moving on, we have emulators. So I feel like with every Hacks console, you need to have an emulator. So we have an N64 emulator, a PS1 emulator, SNES, GBA, and so forth. We also have, I'm not too sure if they have it here, but we might be able to see some operating systems that we can emulate. I believe one of the first ones on the Wii was Linux. The entire reason why people wanted to hack the Wii was to just get Linux running on it and to mess with it. And yeah, and these are just demos. Once again, these kind of fall under the games category. This is kind of showing off how, you know, Homebrew works and how well it functions. So from here, we'll go back to the loader. And that's basically it for Homebrew. There's a lot of different applications and mods that I haven't really covered, but that's basically sort of the general gist of what you can do with the Hacks console. Something like the Save Game Manager, the Wii Media Player, or even the file browser can also be found on different consoles as well. The PS Vita, 3DS, Xbox 360, PS3, all of those, after they're hacked, you usually have access to these general, I guess, genres of application that you can run and use. And that'll be it for the Wii portion of things. There was a mod that I wanted to show, but unfortunately, I don't have the game disc that's required for us to play it. So we'll be skipping that instead. And I have the 3DS here, but unfortunately it's going to be a bit hard to show because I don't think it pops up very well on the camera. I'll talk a little bit more about the PS Vita, or for if some people missed the meeting. Just a second. All right, so Project M. There's a lot of other cool mods. I believe there's one for Super Mario Galaxy, which is really cool, called Super Mario Gravity. All right, so I'll swap over to the PS Vita real quick. Let me stop sharing my video on here, and I'll share my screen just a bit once I get a USB connection. All right. Let me try this real quick. Okay, there we go. All right. Hopefully you can see it. Let me pin my camera again. I'm sharing my screen through the camera function. All right, yeah, so I should still be in the spotlight. So basically, this is my PS Vita that I've hacked. Some of you may have seen it if you went to the meeting on Tuesday. But basically, this I'll kind of go over all the applications that I used. So right here, I have Vita Deploy, ITLS Enso, and HN Core, and Auto Plugin. So these 4 applications are sort of the integral process of hacking it. You basically have a connection from the PS Vita to the PC, move these files over, and just run it, and it does its thing, and it's basically hacked. One thing I kind of want to note here is that the way normally you're not actually able to share your screen on the PS Vita, but through a little config file that I transferred from my PC to my Vita and adding 2 lines of code into the config file of the PS Vita, I'm able to kind of use this as almost like sort of like a webcam that's connected to my computer. But instead of a webcam, it's actually sharing my PS Vita screen. So I'm going to kind of go through the applications here. So this one is a registry editor. This allows us to edit files that the PS Vita uses for something like the display, the date. We can change all these values to however we want. I actually used one of the files here to sort of change the brightness, kind of go over the limit of the brightness and go from there. And yeah, so Norberto mentioned my background, which is Samurai Champloo. Basically, all these apps with, I guess, all their very specific, I guess, theme. This is all because of custom, Homebrew applications. I actually have an app here called Custom Themes Manager where I was able to get this theme and kind of use it for my entire console. So there's a lot of customizability that you can do with this type of stuff after you've hacked it. Going back, so the save manager, this is kind of what I was talking about for the Wii, the sort of the save editor. We can basically use this and kind of go through our so these are all the games that I have had. Most of these I haven't actually touched, but say, for example, something like Minecraft. So we can back up the files, we can restore it, we can delete it, we can format it. There's a lot of different stuff we can do. I believe for specific games, we actually have installed quote unquote hacks where it basically changes specific values. So it would give us either more lives or more health, something like that. Let me close out of here. So going down the list, yeah, I have Minecraft and Vita. It's pretty fun. Going on, we have PKGJ, which is an application that I can't show right now because it needs to be connected to the Wi-Fi for it to actually function. But basically, it connects to a server with a bunch of ROMs that I can download. So rather than needing to download it onto my PC and either transferring it to the Vita through a USB connection or through an FTP client, for example, I can just download it straight on from the PS Vita. So it's pretty convenient. Moving on, we have Vita Shell. This is the same thing as a file explorer, just for the Vita version. So if we go in here, we can see all these different files. Oops, sorry about that. So I believe UXO would be my SD card. It's a 256 and it has a bunch of games on it. Yeah, so I can kind of just look through here. If there's any files that I want to move or any config text files that I want to edit, I can easily do it all from here. Yeah, so moving on, we have the custom themes manager. Like I mentioned before, this is kind of where I can get different types of themes that people have created online. I can't use it right now because I'm also not connected to the Wi-Fi. And the Vita Homebrew browser, same thing as the one on the Wii. We have all of our applications that we can just download straight off the bat without needing to, go through the hassle of going to our PC and transferring the files. So that's pretty neat. So we have emulators. I kind of touched on this very briefly during the meeting. I'm gonna go in depth here because it's gonna be more fun that way, I guess. But for one, we have RetroArch, Moonlight, and Adrenaline. So RetroArch is basically, it's almost like a open source all-in-one emulator where all we need to do is download the system files for a console that we want to emulate. So for example, if we want to emulate the SNES, then we need to download the SNES files, sort of their operating system, if you will. So basically, we have access to a bunch of these different consoles that we can easily emulate through RetroArch. But moving on to Moonlight, Moonlight is basically sort of a self-streaming service. It streams whatever you have on your PC to your PS Vita. So if I were to, want to play a game on Steam on my PS Vita, I would just boot up Moonlight, and through an internet connection, it would stream my computer screen onto my Vita and use my Vita controls to play whatever games I want.
That has to be the way.
Yeah, so since this is a internet connection, there is a bit of a delay. I've used it once or twice on occasion, and it's noticeable, but it's definitely playable. It's not like very bad, but it works. The input lag is like,
Because you're using it as a controller.
yeah.
Via the wire TV, right?
No, this is completely wireless. So whatever input you would do on this is, being wirelessly sent to the computer, and the pictures come back onto your PS Vita. It works pretty well, surprisingly. It's not too bad, but yeah, so that's Moonlight. And the last one that we have is called Adrenaline, which is basically a PSP emulator. And since the PS Vita is basically built on top of the PSP, it runs PSP natively, but PSP also supports playing PS1 games. So you have kind of those two emulation systems all in one. So it's pretty convenient. So let me open up RetroArch right here. It's a very standard emulator. We have a bunch of little we have a lot of stuff that we can do with it. We can kind of put a layer to kind of make it look more 8-bit, if you will, almost like we're playing on a CRT. There's we can change the video settings. There's a bunch of filters that we can use. Audio, we can change how these all look. We have the input. We can change our controls if we really want to. Latency. We can also save on the spot, so just like a traditional emulator. We can also speed it up if we want to. And there's a lot of different stuff that we can do. I believe it also has the ability for us to play multiplayer for some of the consoles, but unfortunately the ones that I have aren't able to do that. But yeah, so I have GBA on here as well as the SNES. So if I really want to, I can just play these games on the spot. But for the time being, I'll just go on to the next emulator. So for Moonlight, I won't be able to use it because I'm not on my home Wi-Fi where my PC also is. So I won't be able to show that off, but I'll be able to show off Adrenaline. Just got to open it again. And once we go into here, this is basically just a PSP. It runs like a PSP. It has everything that a PSP has. So we can kind of just go onto here. If we go into a specific file, we can just have all of our PSP games and just play it through here. So I have some PS1 games here, PSP, and so on. Just going from here. And that's basically it for the PS Vita. I also want to mention, on the Wii, I showed ports how there was Sonic 2, as well as RuneScape that can be played on the Wii. But for this one, I actually have a Fallout 2 port that I have yet to play, but it's readily available. They basically give you kind of like a framework list of files that you need, and you just push it onto the PS Vita, and it's automatically playable. So that's basically it for the PS Vita. Honestly, I kind of wanted to, I don't know, use this workshop to kind of dispel some of the, I guess, worries that people might have for hacking consoles, because all it really is, you don't need a lot of too much, technical expertise. And it really only takes like 20 minutes to do some of the hacks. And sometimes it might be an hour, but still you can really, I guess, transform a console that has, that might be collecting dust somewhere to something that you might, regularly use. So I highly suggest you kind of, go out there and try hacking some device that, that's just collecting dust just for fun and just mess around with it. Because I think consoles are really meant for, to hack, to break, and to mess around with. So yeah. And I think that'll be it for the workshop today. Unfortunately, the 3DS, I would love to show it off, but it's a bit difficult showing the screen. So yeah, I think that'll be it for today.